Oh, hello, and greetings. Hello, kids.
Hi, guys.
Hi, what's going on? Greetings, fam. This was a we always have very interesting openers to this live show of ours. I'm sorry that it transitioned while you were eating pizza.
I'm a dainty fucking flower.
Yes, we all know. We all know. Hello, my name is Kristen.
And my name is Tomcat.
Together we make Catt and Kristen. This is our live show. It's super professional and very, very highly produced.
The most professional.
You have never, ever experienced... I hope that the audio was not off on that. Shoot. Okay, I hope the audio was not off of that. But... only because that thing was going. Fuck. I think we're okay.
No.
I think we're okay.
We'll
I think we're okay.
fine.
Nobody's saying anything.
We'll be fine.
If the audio fucked up, let us know.
Just gonna eat some more pizza.
Hello, Jack. Oh, Jack says, hey guys, great panel at WinterCon. Thank you so much. Thanks. Appreciate that. And hello to Matt, who we met at WinterCon. All so exciting. Yay. Audio's good. Okay, cool. We didn't have any audio issues.
Terrific.
Great, we can hear you, yada yada. We had like a weird episode a couple episodes ago. We had a weird audio issue because we're using OBS now. So there are multiple audios that pop up. It's a weird time.
But Kristen, what is OBS?
OBS is a program that you can use to stream with. You're welcome. Bye.
Any hoozle, now that she's going to enjoy her pizza as I've done so lovingly, today we are going to be talking about, as you can see, character ownership in the cosplay community. We're going to be doing a WinterCon recap, and we're also going to be discussing cosplay models and their effect on the cosplay community as a whole.
Yeah.
Now, let's start by just saying this. Unless you have created a character and you've worn the suit, you can't consider them your own.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But you are not the only person that's allowed to cosplay that character.
But I like Catwoman so much. How dare you say I can't cosplay? I am the only Catwoman there is.
Well, it's interesting, Tom, because did you create Catwoman?
No, Bob Kane did.
Well, then I'm so sorry, but other people can also cosplay Catwoman, which you should be excited about, because it means you're going to get to see a lot of different versions of her on a lot of different body types, different genders, different yada, yada, yada. So it's something that we shouldn't get ultra competitive about.
But I'm the best.
And I believe it. I believe it. I believe it.
These are actual conversations that people genuinely have when it comes to character ownership.
Yes, completely.
And it's so bizarre seeing so many individuals like claim the character is their own.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The only character that I personally feel that I can control on my own is B. Arthur Deadpool.
Yep.
Because
it's a mashup that it's
a crossover that I kind of just sort of took and ran with.
Same thing.
There was never any fan art for it. There was never any. It was just this idea that came to pass. It started with an idea.
Exactly. I was about to say the only cosplay I feel like I have ownership over is my Warrior Dorothy, because it came out of a fever dream. I have the original concept. On a piece of paper, and so I dreamt it up. But even so, if somebody else came up with a different version of a Warrior Dorothy, I wouldn't be like, "You've stolen that from me."
If anybody else does B. Arthur Deadpool, I would congratulate them. It takes a lot of hard work to do something like that.
Listen, that means you have committed a lot of time and money to do that sort of thing. This is something that really it comes up a lot. It comes up a lot in the cosplay community, and especially how cosplayers will treat each other.
A lot of it has to do with insecurities and competition.
And ego.
Of course, ego.
So ego. I mean, the story that I'll tell from, years ago that I always reference is that I did, the year that everyone was cosplaying Elsa, I too cosplayed Elsa with my sister as Anna.
And I did not. But I'm working on it. Elsa's
in the works.
Elsa's in the works.
We will not let it go. We will not. But the one thing that I will say is that was my first ever experience, especially because that was all the hype. That was so hype that year. The Elsa cosplayers were so mean to one another. So mean. I was so thrown by it because obviously you go into a convention knowing that there is a good chance that somebody else is going to be cosplaying the same thing you are. And it was just like the Elsas were shooting daggers ice daggers at one another. It was crazy. And this is a real thing that will come up, and people will like call themselves real life this or real life that, and that's fine. But there's a certain extent for when you stop other people from feeling comfortable cosplaying that thing, where it's like, let's take a step back, though. How about that?
It's an uncomfortable conversation to have with someone that, loves the character so much,
yes.
and loves impersonating and being that character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the things that I enjoy doing when I see other people cosplaying as Ursula or as Catwoman or as I'm trying to think of other characters that I cosplay as. Seeing other drag queens impersonate B. Arthur, like I will always look to them as sort of an inspiration for me to either do better with my character or to just appreciate their aesthetic
and the camaraderie. There should be a sense of camaraderie.
If you're going to put on a cosplay, study the character.
Yeah,
learn about the character.
And you also will. The reason why I feel like there should be a camaraderie of it, and I will say that I have felt this in the Sailor Moon community ever since I started cosplaying Sailor Mars. There's not been a single Sailor Mars that has been mean to me or rude to me. There's been a really lovely, we both really love this thing enough that we spent all of this time and or money making it. Like, there's nothing wrong with being like, oh, I really like what that person did. I want to try better next time. There's no problem with that. But there is a problem when you take that to a level of making other people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, that's just not a cool thing. You don't own a character unless it's an original character.
Trust
me.
I've seen Nightwings. I've seen Harleys. I've seen Catwomen. I've seen Disney princesses.
Oh. Disney is a cutthroat cosplay community at times. That's what I'm saying. Elsa, that was unbelievable.
I have never seen so many angsty bitches saying, I did this better than them. Why do you have to be better then? Just appreciate the attempt.
Yes, completely.
Appreciate the attempt. Especially if it's a costume that they've made themselves and that they're actually going out of their way to attempt to try and cosplay as this character. Put them up. Don't bring them down. What is bringing them down going to do? If it makes you feel better, then you need some type of...
Exactly, yeah. It's funny because Michelle, who I know, my lovely Michelle, she said 168 Harleys, but the best is the Kristen. And that's lovely, and that's a lovely sentiment. But it's something that I definitely don't try to think about when I'm at a con. Because I know that if I were to do my Suicide Squad Harley again or whatever, there are now always going to be Suicide Squad Harleys. So, again, all of these characters, there are also a lot of versions of characters like that. There are a lot of different ways that you can take it. And so I feel like, in general, we should just be more respectful of other people. How is it that this comes up every episode?
It's almost like...
It should be simple.
It's almost like it should be, common sense that people are going to be respectable and kind and caring to other people, but it's not.
It almost seems like you should have learned this in kindergarten. Almost.
Sharing is caring.
It's caring.
Sharing is caring.
Let's see what some people are saying.
I actually wanted to point out my darling Michelle's comment. Disney princesses I've seen are actually nice, 95%.
And that's great.
I want to point something out.
Yes.
I would like to point something out. There is a big difference between Disney princesses that go to princess parties and do their own thing and Disney princesses in the cosplay community.
Yeah.
There's a very, very big difference.
Yep.
Especially because sometimes they're one and the same.
Yeah.
And until you have... experienced, and I know Penny Lane cosplay, who does all the Disney princess wigs.
Yeah.
I mean, I have heard horror stories.
I'm sure.
And I have another friend of mine, my darling Alan. I can't for the life of me remember his stage name, but he also does Disney princesses because he's very passable as a female.
Yeah.
And he is gorgeous in all of his costumes.
Great.
And again, he also has told horror stories about what he's gone through with other princesses, with other princess companies. It's cutthroat. It is very, very cutthroat.
Yeah, because that is a cosplay that everyone knows exactly what that character is supposed to look like. Like, almost down to a T.
Yep.
And so people get so hyper competitive with one another. And to be fair, I used to cosplay Snow White, and I did a couple of years where I really wore out that cosplay. And I had tons of great experiences with other Disney cosplayers as well, but I think I was also in the fortunate situation of that Snow White was one of the lesser hyper cosplayed characters, and I was also doing a specific costume of
usually
her.
the big princesses that
Belle.
I've usually seen, there's Belle, Ariel, Cinderella, and Aurora. Those are usually the four that I genuinely see all the time.
Yes, yeah.
And I mean, those are very complicated costumes to put together. And
Definitely.
I commend anybody
They
that
take
takes
so much
on
artistry.
that. I commend anybody that takes on the responsibility to cosplay as that character. But again, Disney created that character. You don't own that character.
No.
There have been so many times when, I mean, I know that we're going off on a bit of a Disney tangent here, but there are times when people will do Disney princess parties and they'll have to, like, sign waivers saying that they will not, like, sign autographs or what have you.
Oh, yes, that's a huge thing. Disney is very, very, which they should be, because it's all content that is generated for kids.
It's theirs.
It's theirs.
They own it.
It's theirs, and they are really trying to maintain a universe so that kids can still live in that bubble, which makes sense. Like, it completely makes sense, but people get so unbelievably passionate about it. And the reason why Disney tangents, which Michelle says Disney tangents are the best, Disney is just a really good example of a community that can be hyper competitive, because and Luke says, hi Luke, Disney can be scary sometimes. And it's true.
Is scary.
It's so weird and sad that if you're cosplaying as a Disney princess, which is usually a child's hero, that there isn't joy and elation knowing another person or more cosplaying the same princess. And that is something that we can all, again, that means that person loves the character probably like to a same degree that you do. Why can't we all be friends? Joy and elation, towards other characters.
Hold on, what did Michelle say? OMG, I wish I was there with you guys right now. Don't you get asked for autographs at a con? Okay, I actually have been asked to sign books that I've been in. And I will never sign my character's name. I will sign my name.
Yeah.
I will sign Tomcat, and that will be, and that's a wrap.
It. Yeah.
I will never sign Catwoman, unless I am paid by Disney or by DC while I ever sign the character's name. That's something that I personally do. Like, if I'm cosplaying as a character, guess what? You're getting Tomcat's signature. You're not getting the character's signature.
Yeah, it's a weird. That's a whole other territory too.
That is
ownership.
Yeah.
But the main thing that we wanted to touch upon with ownership is that you don't own a character. We could all really cut out a lot of cattiness if we just took away that one element.
I resemble that remark.
I got a lot of catty. I don't want any less cattiness in my life. I don't want any. I take it back. We can take a lot of the hatred towards one another, the undercutting of one another out of the community if we just...
The bitterness, and the jealousy, and the rivalry.
And I try to mention this all the damn time. Everyone's at different levels, too. That could be someone's first cosplay. It could be their 15th cosplay. Everyone's on different levels. There's no reason why we should be so harshly judging one another unless you're in a competition. Unless you are in a competition, then I understand you making those sorts of comparisons. And we talked about that a couple of episodes ago. You can go and watch that where we in-depth discussed that.
Yes. I personally am waiting for the day when Disney princesses slowly phase out and people are more fascinated with the villains, because I'd be making money hand over fist.
I'm already so much more enticed with the villains. Are you kidding? Pretty much almost all of the Disney characters on my list of people I want to cosplay.
My meme collection, one of my favorite memes is actually... when I was younger, I thought I was going to grow up to be a Disney princess. Instead, I grew up to be a Disney villain, and I'm like, bitch, I knew I was going to be a Disney villain at birth.
Here I am, Hades, living.
Anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about WinterCon.
Yeah.
Now, WinterCon, to those that don't know, is a small convention. It is at the Resorts World Casino in Queens.
Yes.
It's an adorable little convention. It's very quiet most of the time.
Yeah.
Very quaint. And what's happening?
No, Kay said, "Hang on," and I imagine she's typing something.
Villains are the best.
I mean, I agree. We agree wholeheartedly. You don't have to convince us.
No, never. Not even in the slightest.
Amazing. But yes, WinterCon is a small convention in Queens. We were guests there.
We were guests there, and we had our panel. To those that weren't able to view it or see it, it is on our Catt Kristen page.
Indeed.
And please, by all means, watch it.
Yeah,
understand
please do.
it. We talked about a pretty fun topic, which just gets better and better the more we talk about it, because it's like people still aren't learning.
It was a topic worth discussing, though, and we want to thank everybody that attended our panel, because we did have a lot of people telling their own stories and that were very receptive to what we were saying, which was great. Which
Very
was really,
much so.
especially because it was at 11 o'clock in the morning. It was very early. It was Dan's birthday con. Happy birthday, con.
My baby. I absolutely... Oh, God almighty. He knows I gave him his birthday present.
All right. That felt scandalous.
Okay.
Was it scandalous?
Everything I say is scandalous.
I mean, I knew
honey.
that, but was it like, never mind. We'll get into it later.
He knows. It's just between me and him.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine. Here we are. We're good. But yeah, in WinterCon, it was a good convention. I had a good time. I saw people that I enjoyed. We made new friends.
Yep. We enjoyed the company that we kept.
Yep.
And I would love to. I would love to go back. I'm also appreciating the fact that it is so sci-fi based, because I mean, you go to conventions and they're usually called comic conventions or anime conventions, but this is like a strictly sci-fi. Well, I don't want to say strictly, but it is a scientific fiction.
Definitely.
Convention. Because there was a lot of Star Wars, a lot of Star Trek.
I just want to let you know that for whatever reason the comments aren't popping up here. We do have comments coming in down here, so if you want to just look at here,
fabuloso.
It's not popping up there. But Matt says, you guys made WinterCon special for me, and that was great. That was really fun. I feel like this con really made me remember
why we
love cosplay, which is really making new friends and making new connections with people, which is just so great.
And to those that don't know, we've done a video on how to make friends in the cosplay community.
Go check it out.
Go watch it.
That's great. It's great that we're coming to the point where we're like, go back organically and watch our content.
Organically.
Do it organically, right now.
We're not pointing a gun to your head or anything.
Right now.
The seriousness in your face.
The theater, it calls to me.
Oh, I'm dying.
The theater. But yeah, it was a great time.
It was a very good convention.
Yeah, definitely. It was a calm convention.
Yes, it was. There was from what I saw, and again, this is what we said before. Just because it isn't happening to you doesn't mean it isn't happening.
Yes.
There was little to no drama that I personally saw.
Yeah, definitely. Nope.
Which was very nice. Like a drama free is the way to be.
Yeah, it was a good Sunday convention. Good time. That's all. Oh,
why is my phone going off? I don't want to answer that. That's your
That's
plate,
a plate.
Who is calling me?
Tom's too popular for us all.
I am too popular.
Jack
something
said,
that's going to voicemail. I don't care.
there it is. Jack said, I love how everyone gets Christmas themed cosplay for WinterCon. That is something that makes WinterCon very fun.
I was kind of like really, really, really wanting to get like a Santa Claus hat and just put it over my cat cowl, just to like be adorable. There was one Deadpool there who was like really, really, really like that was a damn good Deadpool.
That was
cosplay.
like a completely
there was
on
leather,
spot.
There was like EVA foam.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. It was great. Phil says, missed you too as I was there only Saturday. Yeah, yep. That was unfortunately the situation of definitely people were there different days, and that's also part of the thing of WinterCon, it being a smaller con. People do kind of pick and choose a little bit more, but it was a great time. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's honestly how conventions used to be, where people would only want to go one day, and that's essentially what New York Comic Con is becoming, because so many people are just wanting to go
one day
or 2 days and be done with it.
Yeah, completely.
And I think it's very interesting when talking about WinterCon, because it is a very quaint convention. It is a very small convention.
Yep.
I know last year security was rather tight, and I think they this year they sort of like were a little looser with their with their morals, I guess you can say. Different types of weapons were allowed. I remember Jason had posted you could wear like a mask and enter the convention that way.
It's, I think, if you go just into, because it's in a casino. Yeah. So if you were to go to different floors and try to get food, that's when you'd have an issue with a mask, because obviously with casinos they're so highly.
Last year, 2 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, I was cosplaying as Endora from Bewitched. And they wouldn't let me in because they felt that my makeup wasn't my real face. And I'm like,
really?
I actually had to go downstairs to security, and this woman who I'll never forget, Brenda, this adorable security guard. Yeah. She's like, they said what to you? Just come with me. And we went upstairs, and then we had a couple of drinks, and then we went home.
Amazing.
But I mean,
that's crazy. I didn't know that.
That they wouldn't let you in because of X, Y. Like, come on now.
Last year was my first time at WinterCon. Last year I went on Saturday, I believe. And I enjoyed it, definitely. But I wasn't heavily in cosplay. I wasn't even really in cosplay last year. Last year I was there doing some promotional stuff for for Nightwing Escalation. Which was exciting. But yeah, we had a good time at the con. Not a lot of drama, which is good.
No more drama. No more drama.
Shimmies. Anyway. Shimmy. Insert shimmying here. There it is. Great. Nailed it. Should we move on?
Well, we've only talked about it for like a handful of seconds. Yeah. I mean, do we want to talk more about WinterCon? What can we talk more about WinterCon about?
You had an exciting meeting.
Did I?
Yeah. Who you met at WinterCon?
Oh!
You met someone?
Okay. All right. So, to those that don't know, Sean Young was at the convention. To those that what's happening?
Oh no, Will said, I'm just going to point out the amazing manners that both of you have. You keep on covering your mouths from the camera when you're chewing. Yeah, I
because
have to.
I'm a lady. That's
exactly.
why.
We are ladies. Thank you very much. Yeah, and also because I just know ripping sounds too.
We also don't want to hear
the pizza ASMR that's going to happen anytime now.
We'll have the pickles and be that pickle lady.
No.
Just go right into the. Oh my god.
Great. Everyone just unsubscribed. You can't even subscribe on Facebook if you all just unsubscribe.
Okay, so this is a fun story that
oh no, my phone died. Sorry, continue. I'll get our comments back up. Oof, continue. You're good. You're good. There. Continue. Keep talking.
No, what I was going to say was to those that don't know, Sean Young was an actress from the event that was talked about, and I can't for the life of me remember what the heck it was.
There we go. Great.
But
yours isn't updated either. Crap.
Well, what happened?
I don't know.
Well, we're fine. We're still
we'll
still
figure
okay.
It out. We're still going.
We're okay. Fine. We're fine.
If we don't respond to your comments, it's because we maybe can't see them. But continue.
Happens.
It does.
But one of the things that Sean Young was famous for was when Tim Burton was originally casting Batman Returns, Sean Young was emphatic in her wanting to be cast as Catwoman. And she went on the Joan Rivers show in a handmade costume, basically doing this whole monologue, whole spiel. And I think just recently she was on, not recently, when you're on Letterman, which was however many years ago. Yeah. She was put back in the cat suit advertising some type of something. And one of our friends had tried to introduce me to her, and she was busy. She had a line of people. She's a very popular person.
She's very popular.
And as I'm walking towards a booth where I was getting teeth done for a cosplay that I'm working on for Katsucon, she like stops, she looks up, and she just like looks me up and down. And she goes, "I have to get a picture with you." And I said, "Oh, of course you do, Sean Young."
Amazing.
And that's the picture that you see on my Facebook. She's like holding my whip, and I'm like, "Oh, this is so cute."
That was very cute.
We're both really dying to play the role of Catwoman.
I liked your caption to that picture. Like, it was like, both wanna be
Catwomen.
Yeah, I liked that. I really liked that.
The other celebrity that I wish I was able to meet was Kathy Najimy. Because I've been a fan of hers since Hocus Pocus. I loved her in King of the Hill. I loved her 2-woman show with her cohort, and it would have been nice to have met her, but unfortunately it just
didn't happen. But you had that special experience.
There are times when you go to a convention and it's like, do I want to meet a celebrity? Sure,
Yeah.
I'd love to meet a celebrity, but I mean, sometimes even I'm found to be a celebrity by some people.
It's true. By me.
She just loves.
He doesn't realize I'm selling all of his things. He doesn't realize. He left a coffee in my car. It's gone on eBay. It's on eBay now. Auctioning it off.
Oh my God, I'm crying.
I'll be here all week.
Oh my Lord.
But yeah, that's and now my main reason. I mean, and I don't think it really ever was my main reason for going to cons, but like, I definitely don't like. I don't even necessarily look at who the guests are going to be at a convention. It's sort of something after I commit to the convention.
If
like,
it
who's
happens,
going to be here?
It happens.
Exactly.
If it happens, it happens.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not the type to like gush over someone. I'm not the type to go through hero worship because.
No.
I've made it a point to make it like very obvious that most of my heroes are dead. Mm-hmm. So when I meet somebody that I'm particularly fond of, it's nice. It's a nice feeling.
It's weird. I don't know if you saw. I literally made a video on hero worshipping yesterday.
I saw that. It was a very wonderful video.
Thank you.
Shut Up Kristen on YouTube.
Yeah, go check it out.
Go check it out, kids.
Yeah, I talked about a lot of the celebrity obsession worshipping, which sometimes con life can also really
well, I mean, when you meet your heroes, it's never what you expect it to be.
Yeah, I've never had a bad experience, though. I will say I've been very lucky, and knock on wood, not having a bad experience.
You're gonna appreciate this.
Yes.
Do you know which celebrity I honestly would not want to meet?
Who?
B. Arthur.
That's fair. Yeah.
As much as I love impersonating her, as much as I adore her character. She was a very reserved, very shy individual, and I would not be able to like have a conversation with her without her just like glowering at me, saying, "What the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck away from me!"
Yeah,
like I already have that vision in my head.
That vision, so you already just are like, "That's not a person."
I'm like, "That's not a person that I honestly would want to meet." It. I mean, I can't. She's dead.
I think the person I was most nervous about meeting was Alan Rickman. I got to meet him while he was still with us, which I'm very thankful for, and he couldn't have been a kinder gentleman. He was wonderful. I met him at the stage door of one of his Broadway shows that was happening, which he was excellent, and he could not have been nicer. Like, I'm pretty sure I have like secret video of it somewhere. Pretty sure I like hid my phone. But yeah, that's a whole other topic.
We can actually discuss hero worship in our next video potentially,
done.
and just go from there. That sounds like
I'm into that. We'll do that. Cool.
And now that we have a couple more minutes, let's talk about cosplay modeling.
Yeah.
Now, we just gonna dive right into this thing. Where do you separate cosplay modeling from porn?
Yeah. So, okay. Because I don't want to... I think some of the cosplay modeling is, in fact, cosplaying.
Yes.
I think some of it, though, is definitely on that border where you're like, I'd prefer if you didn't call this cosplay, because I don't really think it's cosplay.
Yes.
And this is something that's coming up more and more and more now, especially as cosplayers get Patreons. Yes.
That creates this sort of influx of I don't want to say vulgarity, but this influx of lewd pictures.
Yeah.
And like I will always appreciate a person's hustle. Make no mistake about
Completely.
that. I make that very obvious. I will always appreciate a person's hustle. However, and I actually had a very long conversation with someone about how some cosplay models are allowed to take advantage of people because, hey, if they're getting paid off of their pictures, then why the hell not?
Yeah.
But the problem that a lot of other cosplayers are having with it is it's sort of shining a darker light on cosplay as a whole.
Yeah, well, what I would say is I should preface this with I have a Patreon. I have a Patreon, and one of the first questions that I get from multiple people now when I say that I have a Patreon, when I say it to people in the cosplay community, is if I do lewds. If I do that, which I do not. It's not part of my. I've had Patreon for 3 years now. I've had it longer than cosplayers really got into it because I've had it for my YouTube channel. So I started doing Patreon when YouTubers started doing Patreon. And about a year to 2 years after that is when cosplayers started really getting on Patreon. And it is kind of uncomfortable that now when I say that my Patreon stuff goes towards my YouTube videos and my cosplay, that like one of people's first things to ask me is if you a porn star. Yeah, which is not even in the slightest. If that's what you're looking for on my Patreon, you ain't gonna get it. It's a
very, very uncomfortable question to be asked. Especially when, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a squeaky clean reputation, but if you have a reputation and a rapport that people view as being sort of like, quote, wholesome or not, I hate using words like sleazy or anything of that nature. Right. But this suggestive behavior, like it's a very uncomfortable question to be asked when you don't do that. Yep. Like, and I mean, there are times when I myself will wear a sexier type of costume where, like my Pikachu and my Ghastly. Yep. Those two cosplays are very scantily clad, are very like, they're very revealing to a certain extent. Yeah. But there are people and individuals that will just not wear anything and consider it cosplay. Yeah. And I can't get behind that. No, because and it's hard because it's like I don't want to call what these people are doing like if they are thinking to themselves as cosplay. I'm not trying to invalidate that, but it's there has to be a line. There has to be some sort of line somewhere because what it does do. And the question that we're asking is, what is it? Where is that line? Yeah. Because there are people that will say, oh, well, this person is dressed in this type of skirt and that type of blouse with those types of glasses, and they're really cosplaying as this character. Yeah, so completely. if you get to see their vagina, it's completely and totally fine. Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. That's. And the reason, again, I think the reason why this is important is because it does affect cosplay on a whole. Because it also, there is a very big sexualization of cosplayers. Fetishization. Yes, where people start to think of this as cosplay on a whole. And I literally, when I will be mentioning to like my kind of non-cosplayer friends, like even one of my friends asked why we were doing the Cosplays Not Consent panel. And I was like, well, this is a problem. And she was like, do you find that that's a bigger problem because there is a lot of people think of female cosplayers as people that wear just sexy costumes. And that's like, and it's sort of like, again, asking that question, where is the line drawn? Yeah, it's hard. It's very complicated to answer that question, especially when there is so much that can go into what is defined as cosplay and what is defined as pornography. Am I saying her name right? Nadell says, question. I've heard that the cosplayers who do lewd and sexualized cosplay should not be blamed, but the audience should. Do you guys agree? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with how, society views what is sexy and what is not. And I think that's true. Yeah. I think that is a huge reason as to why this is happening the way it's happening. Yeah. And again, it's why we have body positivity conversations and cos positivity and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and that's almost the problem. I think a lot of people are afraid to have this conversation because what we're saying, we don't want to invalidate anybody's feeling comfortable in their body, like, or feeling like they want to show it off.
You want to know what we're trying to say here, kids?
Yeah.
I'm Sarah McLachlan, and I'm here to ruin your fucking day.
In the arms of the angels. Yeah. Puppies everywhere. Puppies.
What we would like to say
Yeah.
is that we are not invalidating anybody.
No.
We just want people to be respectable to other individuals.
Ding.
Is it that difficult?
Yeah.
I hate that there's skinny shaming. I hate that there's fat shaming. I
yeah.
hate that there's fitness shaming. People
yeah.
who are being shamed for being fit.
Yeah.
And for looking a certain way. What?
For caring about dat gym life.
How dare you?
Yeah,
How
truly.
dare you?
It's
And
dumb.
I fear that is what causes most of these issues with cosplay modeling.
Yeah.
Because it's like the only way you're going to be able to make any sort of money in this industry, as my plate just goes flying, I'm a mess. I'm an emotional mess.
Everything's fine. We're fine.
The reason why most of this is happening is because so many people are saying the only way that I can make money is if I look a certain way. And it just isn't so.
Yeah.
I mean, to a certain extent.
Yes.
Yes.
Oy.
Sometimes you have to look a certain way, you have to dress a certain way,
Yeah.
you have to behave a certain way
Yep.
in order to make some type of coin in this industry. But
Yeah.
that's if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Yes. You are choosing to do that. You're choosing to do that. It is your choice, just as it is other people's choices to spend money on that.
On
or
those
support
pictures
you on
or
those
support
sorts
you
of
on
things.
those endeavors.
Yes, definitely. Just going to the comments for a second.
Please do.
Some people are saying, preach, yo, skinny shame. Would love to talk about that more in the future. I've talked about
Please.
that on my YouTube channel before because your girl's gone through it.
Me too.
Yeah, it's all happened. You have. I'm saying nothing else on this matter. I'm saying nothing else on this matter.
I'm being a bitch. Leave me alone. I have every right to be.
I mean, I know, boo, but I love you. A guy commented on a photo saying to me, "Oh, nice lady, Deadpool, but your tits are too small." Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten comments like that before, too, that I've had to delete. Or that I've chosen to delete because, fuck that shit, you're on my shit, I can delete whatever I want. Yeah. Yep.
You know something.
Yeah.
If
Give it to me. Tell me.
If my tits didn't cost as much as they did,
Yeah.
and someone made a comment like that, I'd take it and throw it at them.
Yeah.
How disrespectful of a
Exactly.
question is that?
So stupid. People are so dumb sometimes. Eric says, I'd say it's because of how... Oh, no. Thank you all for commenting. Hold up. I'd say it's because of how cosplay has become a sort of arms race where there needs to be a top dog, and in the way that they do is by making innocent or regular cosplay into lewds. The marketplace has shifted, so now sexy cosplay has become the moneymaker.
Yes.
And that is 100% true. The sexy cosplay is the moneymaker, without a doubt. It's so many people are doing it. You can't deny it. So many people are on Patreon getting so much success by doing the Polaroids, by doing certain sets per month, by doing certain whatever. And again, I'm not shitting on those people, but I don't also know that inherently what they're doing is cosplay. Maybe they're putting that money towards cosplay, but I don't know that what they're doing is cosplay.
The thing that I fear the most is that cosplay is going to become this all-encompassing term that will feature pornography and fetishization and all this sort of nasty stuff that we don't want associated with the term cosplay. Yeah. Because again, when
we're telling somebody in our workplace that we're going to a convention and we're cosplaying,
people will automatically think orgies.
Yes.
Automatically will think orgies.
Completely.
What? No.
Yeah, we just want it to be a term. Also, because, like, let's just add this in for a second. There are a lot of families that are cosplaying now, too. And there are kids that are cosplaying. And, like, you don't want
I know
those...
that we sound like the preacher's wives, but the
children!
children!
I will say, I hope Matt doesn't mind. Matt had actually said something to me earlier when I told him that this was going to be the thing of our, what's it called? the subject of our live stream, where he had said that, like, to him, the family-friendly aspect of cosplay, that it is, to a degree, an aspect of cosplay. Like, if you're going to a convention, for example, like, and you know kids are going to be there, that's something that you want to take into consideration.
Again, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people save those types of saucier cosplays for conventions where kids aren't going to be there.
Exactly. If kids aren't going to be there, then I don't see a problem.
There was a comment that our baby Eric left.
Yes. Oh,
saying,
Eric!
Sex sells in every industry.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be part of mixing cosplay and sexuality, don't. And we get that.
Yeah.
We're here for it. But the problem is this community is starting to get a stigma that if you say I cosplay, it automatically transpires into, oh, well, you're a sex worker, basically. Like, that's the fall.
And I have to agree, just in that, like, especially being a woman in this community as well, and telling people those sorts of things, I've had reactions before where they're like, oh, what? So you're doing a sexy version of this? And that's a really interesting... The fact that the general public thinks that to a certain degree, it is a thing. It's a thing, and I wish it weren't a thing. In that, I think people are allowed to do whatever they want to do, but I don't think that should be immediately what people's minds go to when they think cosplay. Eric also said, I agree with you when it comes to the cons and when it comes to the public perception of cosplay. It's just up to all of us to educate people who don't know any better. It's definitely up to those of us who do not mix things to educate people who have misconceptions. Yes. Welcome to the live show. Yes, agreed. Completely.
That's what we hear.
Wait, can we? Great. Yes, and I agree with you. And that is something that we have to clear up. There have been a lot of comments. You guys are doing great with the comments today. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the comments, Kittens.
Oh, this is a big one. Like, I know that there are characters people cosplay that are sexy, and there are variants. Like Wonder Woman, for example, her costume has so many changes over the years, and the same with Harley Quinn. I think sexy cosplay is okay, but I hate people that go too far with sexy cosplay and don't choose wisely about who they sexify for cosplay. Like putting a character like Chibiusa in a tiny little sexy bikini and calling it a Sailor Scout character when we know that's nothing... that's not, but we have a character like Tina Armstrong from Dead or Alive video game who's a lot like the girls in the game series who are sexually designed and yet they aren't even out there in the cosplay world. And I mean, the sexualization or the sexifying kids characters and other things, that's a whole other conversation, to be quite honest with you. That is a whole other conversation. It's just another thing. That's another thing. But that's definitely a point, for sure. She also says, I'm so tired of sex sells. We get it, but can we have some balance, please? I think that's the biggest thing. Save the sexy cosplay for the party cons like Katsucon, Anime Next, and Oda. Agree with you. And again, I don't want anybody leaving here thinking that we hate cosplay models or don't support cosplay models.
We support everybody. It's just when you're... Are you dying?
Very good.
You sure?
Living. My boyfriend is to the side. He's over there. He said he's Tom's boyfriend.
No, husband.
No, Tom's husband.
Husband, exactly. Different. There it is. Okay, all right. Things are getting graphic over here. I know. I understand. It's fine.
Like he's the first person I've ever taken from another person. I'm not.
You can get him in a heartbeat.
I'm not a whore.
The same thing happens in fan art as well. Yeah, it's there's just got to be some. There are certain things that I will see on Instagram of cosplayers that I follow, and I'll be like, oh, hello, greetings, loved ones, let's take a journey. Like, that's what's happened.
Come along, right on a fantastic voice.
Stop, we don't have that right.
We don't have those rights.
We don't have the rights.
Facebook will close us down.
We're done by Facebook's coming for us.
And again, we are not shitting on cosplayers' hustle, but
No, not at all. And again, I have a Patreon. So I'm not shitting on Patreon.
We're shitting
either.
on the fact that you're calling it cosplay.
Yeah.
That you're doing these sort of nude shoots and calling it. No, that's not. No, honey.
It's modeling.
It is modeling.
It's
I'm a fan of modeling. That's
Same.
terrific.
Into it. Yeah. But it's not.
It's not cosplay modeling.
Not cosplay.
When we go to a convention and we pose for pictures, that's cosplay modeling.
Yeah.
When we pose for a photographer, that's cosplay modeling.
Yes.
In a bedroom, wearing practically nothing.
Yeah.
I don't care how accurate or close to a character it is.
Yeah, it's something different.
That isn't that. No.
It's just
Fun
something
hobble.
different.
Why am I getting so many phone calls?
Tom's leaving me. He's too popular.
I'm so popular.
You're so popular.
I'm so popular.
Eric also made me die a moment ago where he said, I freaking miss you both, by the way. I want to see you both soon, please. Yes, Eric, we can. We can do that.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes, peas.
It's
Yes, peas and carrots.
It's fine. You know I am in love
What's
with you.
happening?
It's fine.
Also, I'm not creepy. Tom and I are soulmates.
That's it.
Boom.
Thoughts, Kristen says, oh, you have a great name and you spell it great. Thoughts on pinups that aren't undies. Pinups, that's another thing. Because we've got so many subsections going on here.
So many subcategories.
So many subcategories. I think even pinup to a different...
Do you call it cosplay pinup? Well, that depends. Think of it this way, and I'm going to reach into my golden bag of wisdom here. Think of the DC bombshells.
I swear to you, I was going to use the exact same example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are based off of pinup models.
Yeah.
So that I would consider that, in my opinion,
cosplay.
That's cosplay pinup.
Yes,
I'm
completely.
a fan of that idea.
Yeah.
What I'm not a fan of is when people will just take their bodies and show their bodies and call it cosplay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Like if you're going to take, let's say, DC Bombshell's version of Raven, and just take off all the clothes and just have it be the shoes, the wig, and maybe the cape. That is not cosplay photography. That is porn.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
It's just not.
Just don't call it cosplay.
It's not cosplay.
Just don't call it that.
I don't know. It's
because at that point, that's not cosplay. That's role play.
Yes.
Educate yourselves.
Ding, ding, ding. And we're not trying to shun people here. It's just that they are different things. They're different things. And it's,
again, the reason I'm getting so emboldened about it is because I am getting a little tired of people calling it cosplay, because that is a direct, I don't want to call it an attack, but that is a direct, come on, help me out here with the word.
A direct attack, a direct, just make goat noises.
That's it. A direct on
all of our hard work.
On all of our hard work as cosplayers.
Yes. Well, and a lot of it also, and like this trudges into the handmade versus store, whatever.
We've discussed that, but we can always talk about it again.
But like a lot of that also doesn't involve a lot of artistry. It's buying a couple things together, slapping them on, putting the wig with it, and calling it a day, which is
for instance,
cosplay,
I'm going to give an example, and I'll use myself as an example in this because why the hell not?
Yeah.
If I am cosplaying as Catwoman, and then someone asks, would you like to, if someone propositions me saying, would you like to go up to my room and have a saucier shoot? Do I think that's going to happen in my lifetime? Never.
Yeah.
However, if it does happen, and I say, sure, I would make it known that it isn't cosplaying, it's role playing.
Yeah. Yep.
Because there's that cosplaying is for conventions, role playing is for the boudoir.
And you know what I will say? Actually, Jessica Negri over the years has done a really great job of trying to, when she'll do like Ludmas or Ludsgiving or whatever, all Ludoween, etc. She actually does a really good job of, she won't say that is cosplay. She often will be like, this isn't cosplay, this is just a fun shoot. That's fine. And I actually really appreciate that from her, because I've seen that a lot.
And that's all it takes.
Because to be honest, I think she also was in part the big trendsetter for
sexy,
the model of
sexifying,
this. And the model of the
cosplays.
Patreon, she was one of the first cosplayers on Patreon really using that tier system and whatnot. But I do appreciate that a lot of the time.
I am living for this fruit salad.
For this fruit salad. I don't want to read that only because I don't want us to use specific examples. Only because we're not here to shit on people.
Just click on the comment itself.
I know. There we go.
Okay, there we go. I'll read it.
Yeah.
The biggest controversy honestly came from a certain cosplayer due to the looting the
Lolly?
looting the
Lolly?
oh, that's what it says. Looting the lolly.
Yeah.
And now it's become the new wave. You have regular cosplayers going against looters versus actual suicide girls in a 3-way death match for views, clout, and money. Sad but true.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Sad but true.
Yeah. 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 That's it. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's
all. And you know what's interesting is most of the, also, I will say, suicide girls that I follow, because I follow a couple of suicide girls that are also cosplayers. Even they, I've noticed, do a really good job of separating what's their cosplay and what's their suicide girl modeling photo shoot work.
What's their I love when they use alternative
modeling.
Yeah. I enjoy the term alternative
Kelly
modeling.
Eden I'm a huge fan of Kelly Eden. Do you know who she is? And she does a great job of distinguishing those two things.
My girlfriend Sin.
Yes.
Sin Castro.
Yep.
She's fabulous.
Yep.
Fabulous individual.
Yeah.
But she will not call alternative modeling cosplay.
Yeah.
And I think it's in that we have to sort of like take a step back and say, what is cosplay? Cosplay is when you go to a convention in a costume. It's costume play.
Yeah.
Role playing is you're putting on a role and you're playing it.
Yeah. Yep. Nothing wrong with either of them, but
There's
they're
nothing
different.
wrong with either of them, but
They're
like,
just different.
How did that Offspring song go? You got to keep them separated.
Oh yes, yeah.
I'm reaching into my golden bag of wisdom again.
Eric says Jessica and Danielle. Oh, how do you pronounce her last name?
Where are we?
There.
Where are we?
Oh,
Bolu.
Yes,
Bolu.
yeah. Very much separate those boudoir and cosplay worlds, and they're both very much known for both. And I think there is a way that you can do both and not be, even though a lot of people would argue that Jessica Negri is known for the more sexual cosplays, whatever. But I think she actually has done a really good job trying to separate the two of them, and I really respect that. Mm-hmm. Just for all of us, you know? I think it's just because not everybody is doing it. Again, I sort of just think of it of when I tell my office job that I'm going to a convention and there's cosplay. I don't want to lie. And I also don't want them to immediately think, oh, well, that means that, like, this person that I work with is going off and wearing very, very scantily clad things, whatever, that's on the borderline of porn. That's all. That's it. Jack says, should conventions be more selective about having cosplay guests who do lewd or nude on their personal social media to protect children who might look up their profiles after meeting them at a convention? I cannot do this. Oh, there we go.
I'm going to
do it.
Let's take a page out of the WWE handbook here. Yeah.
This is a good term.
I know. Okay, gay Tom watching men in spandex. I mean, it's kind of a thing. I always appreciated the WWE during its, like, 90s attitude days. It was very sexualized. Nowadays, it's sort of taken a turn for the more PG rated. Where they'll still be in those very saucy costumes, showing off their bodies and all that fun stuff, but it's not nearly as pornographic as it was years ago.
Right.
And I think conventions are going to eventually start doing what was just stated. It's going to get to a point where someone is going to look at a person's Instagram or a person's Facebook and say, we don't want someone that has posted lewds on their Instagram or has a Patreon with lewds available at our convention. I do think that is a possibility for the future.
And I don't even know that that's necessarily unfair, because conventions also have to a degree, if they are saying that they are a family friendly con, they have to back up that reputation.
Yes.
And so that really is at the, that's at the will of the convention. I don't know that I necessarily blame them for that, because again,
at that point the cosplayers are at the mercy of the convention.
Yeah, and that's just always how it's kind of going to be. You're at the mercy of the business end of that. And just as when you're deciding to start up your Patreon, have this part of your business, you have to be aware that that's a thing that could happen with a lot of different avenues of working with specific advertisers that might not like. It's kind of the big thing that's happening on YouTube right now. Huge thing that's happening on YouTube. Huge overhaul of advertisers deciding that they don't.
Unless a specific convention wants you there.
Yeah.
Like, and you do lewds and whatnot. Like conventions like Exotica. I'm trying to think of other conventions where
Dragon Con?
I don't want to use Dragon Con as an example, but it is not off the table, because Dragon Con is such a melting pot of ideas and people. I'm just going to put that plate there because I keep on knocking the fucking
You're
thing
seeing
over.
Just below where the camera sees, Tom has been flipping his
I have
plate
been flipping my plate
all over. I didn't even realize it got back up here. I thought it was on the floor last time.
That'll be the new thing with this show. Whenever Tom gets pissed off, he'll just flip the pizza. Flip the pizza.
If we're not sipping the tea, we're flipping the pizza. That's it. It's either or, baby.
But this is a topic that really isn't going to go away anytime soon. The more people are getting involved, the more people will say, "Oh, well, my body sells, and I have what people want, and I'm going to what's happening."
No, nothing. I was looking at it. I was just seeing if anything had come up.
No.
I was listening to you though. Go ahead.
It's not something that's going to go away anytime soon. People are gonna continue to do this as long as they can make a fast buck off of it, and that's. I'm completely and total. I don't know if he was pointing at me on that.
No, he burped.
Like,
I heard it, and I was like, we made eye contact.
I'm like, is he suddenly wanting me to do these things
He's
now?
gone. He's dead. It's happened. Here we are.
But yeah, I just want people to be more mindful of what they would call cosplay, and mindful of what they would consider to be. Of what they would consider to be cosplay.
Yeah, yes.
Because, the more people will say, oh, well, it's happening now, and it's what we've discussed. And people will automatically equate cosplay to going to a convention and having a giant orgy.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with being both a cosplay, being both a boudoir model and being a cosplayer. Nothing wrong with being both of those things, but they are separate things. You can be both, and you can do nerdy boudoir inspired shoots, but they're nerdy shoots. They're not cosplay shoots. I just spit all over myself, but. Here we are.
Live your dreams. Live your dreams. Live your truth.
I'm just trying to be me, guys. Just trying to be me.
Oh, hell.
Yeah.
Well, we have... Wow.
Woo!
We are at the hour mark,
We're at the hour
kids.
mark. There it is.
We thank you for joining us on
Yeah,
this
thank you for
one.
being so active. We really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for the comments.
Yeah.
Like this is a topic that I feel is going to continue to
Yeah.
be a topic of discussion.
Definitely.
I do want to update people on what's going on between Salt Lake City and San Diego Comic-Con quickly.
I was just going to ask you if you knew, because I don't know. What happened?
The opening statements were that at San Diego Comic-Con, I think 3 years ago, Salt Lake Comic-Con decided that they were going to, I think, tack on the Comic-Con name.
Right, okay.
And because the Salt Lake people said, oh, well, if we call it a Comic-Con, people will be more...
People will know what it is. And
people will know what it is, and they'll be more enticed to come and buy the tickets and buy their wares.
Yeah.
And whereas San Diego Comic-Con is basically saying, no, that's our name.
Yeah.
You stole it from us, and you're stealing our profits. Because that's something that actually happened. The people at San Diego Comic-Con, or I think Salt Lake City Comic-Con, were getting calls about the other convention, and it sort of confused people a little bit.
Interesting.
And that was why San Diego Comic-Con basically said, this is ours. We were the ones that created it, and we are the ones that are going to take ownership of it. And, I mean, there was another problem where... I think Rose, there was some convention that started with the word Rose.
I think I know what you're talking about, too. And
it was
Rose
Water, Rose Lake, Rose something convention.
Rose Tyler.
partnered up with San Diego
Sorry.
partnered up with San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Just sort of just like, I don't want to say be a smoking gun, but to sort of like take some of the pressure off of San Diego Comic-Con. But those were just the opening statements. Nothing has been decided yet. It's probably going to be.
It's probably going to go to San Diego Comic-Con. Do you think?
I have no idea. It can honestly go either way. It's just opening statements. I think they're going to be at this for at least a good year and a half.
That's a stronger opening statement though for SDCC that I would have thought though, because using that example of like people calling each other's cons and getting confused, that's a strong argument, which it doesn't necessarily make me agree with San Diego Comic-Con more or less, but it is a kind of it gives
and I
them
mean
more merit.
now San Diego Comic-Con already has one convention partnering up with it to use the term. So it's sort of like conventions are starting to give into
the bigger business.
To the bigger business, and it's just I'm not about that life. I am all for Salt Lake City Comic-Con continuing to call itself Salt Lake City Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I feel that the term Comic-Con is basically community property.
Yeah. Eric says San Diego Comic-Con has Comic-Con actually trademarked. I think they allow New York Comic-Con to use the terminology, but no other cons can call themselves a Comic-Con because of copyrights.
And that's what they're fighting. That's what I think they're fighting
They're
about.
fighting a copyright claim for it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
right.
it's gonna be it's gonna be a battle.
That's interesting.
But oh my goodness, my phone just does not want to stop today.
Your phone is on a journey. That reminded me of Mulan though. That sound. It reminded me of Mulan. It reminded me of the Mulan video game.
Oh my God Almighty!
Which I loved. Sorry, flashback. Back to Disney.
Oh, the flashback.
Back to Disney.
But that was what I wanted to say.
No, thank you for that update because I was curious about it too. Yeah.
But yeah, if you would like, you can follow me on Instagram at the.tom.cat and on Facebook at TomCatConMom and at Catt Kristen on both Instagram and Facebook. And
if you want to follow me, I'm Shut Up Kristen, Kristen, pretty much on all the socials. Right now, I've finally gotten back into my YouTube channel and I'm making videos pretty much every day until Christmas. So if you could go and give me some love on those videos, that would be great. The one that I made yesterday, though, a lot of people have been really liking, which I super appreciate. I talked about kind of the fan obsession stuff, the celebrity obsession and worshiping, and what we kind of do when we find out our heroes aren't the people that we think they are in light of kind of recent events, but in general as well. And yeah, that's me. That's it.
And without further ado, we are now going to announce our cosplayer of the week.
Yes! Oh my gosh, I almost forgot.
I was not letting that slide.
Which I'm glad because this is a favorite person of mine.
Our cosplayer of the week for this week is none other than
Lua Stardust.
Lua
That's
Stardust.
What she's going by now.
Lua
Stardust
is our cosplayer of the week.
Yes.
We've both appreciated and adored her work.
Definitely.
She's an adorable little Spitfire who continues to just put so much pep and zing into her work.
She has a YouTube channel now, and I've been enjoying her YouTube channel. We've never met before. I've just seen her, again, from afar at conventions, but she seems very lovely.
And you can follow her, I believe, on Instagram at Luasua.
I think it's Lua Stardust.
Oh, it is Lua Stardust. She did change it.
I think it might be Lua.Stardust, like period.
Oh, yeah, Lua.Stardust.
If you look her up, though, I think, honestly, if you look up Lua, I think she's one of the first people that pops up. And we will, of course, we always make a post about our cosplayer of the week. So that'll be up tomorrow if you want to directly check out her socials and whatnot. But she is a great cosplayer. She has had her Gamora. Is so good. It's so good.
She does phenomenal
great
work.
Who
also I think knows the difference between cosplay modeling
she's like a perfect
and role playing.
It all tied up in a pretty little bow. Because she's a great example of that, of really separating the two.
You know what?
The Patreon
I don't even think I want to call it role playing. I just want to call it alternative modeling.
Yeah, it's alternative modeling.
So there's cosplaying and alternative modeling.
Yeah. Eric says the Insta is Lua.Stardust. Yes, LUA.Stardust.
But thank you for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week. Ciao me out for now, guys. Bye.